Hi, I'm Travis Markwood, President of the Lancaster-Fairfield County Chamber of Commerce, and welcome to the 2021 State of the City Address. Today we're going to be visiting a lot of the different departments throughout the city. In a bit we're going to hear from Mayor Scheffler. He's going to kind of open us up here a little bit, but before we do that, I want to take an opportunity to thank all our sponsors for today's event. You should have seen them scrolling prior to the start of our video here. But we really appreciate those sponsorships for all of our events throughout the year, but especially for today's State of the City address. Without further ado, I'm going to turn it over to Mayor David Scheffler for an opening remark.
Thank you, Travis, and welcome everybody to the 21 State of the City. Like everything else for the last 11 months, this one is going to be a little bit different. But I'm going to start out just a 30,000 foot view of the state of the city. So I can say it's improving. Certainly a big consideration for all of us is the COVID pandemic, but with cases declining and the vaccine distribution rolling out, we're looking for a better year this year than we had last year. So probably the most consequential development of my term as mayor, the 3 years in with 3 years to go, is passing the income tax increase last November. And I want to thank all the citizens of Lancaster for doing that. It's going to make a significant difference to city operations. And let me give you just a tiny example of how it will impact us. In the news a lot lately has been the trap, neuter, and release program for feral cats. Over the years, we get many complaints about feral cats in neighborhoods, messing up landscaping, all kinds of other complaints, and we've not really had the ability to do anything about it. So this year, because we have some money available, we have budgeted $15,000 for this TNR program, and we'll be able to spay or neuter about 600 cats. That will be done by the Humane Society, and information about that program will be rolling out. But over the years, if we continue that program, it will make a big difference in the city. And there are lots of other similar examples of how we can improve the quality of life in the city of Lancaster, because we don't have to continue cutting year after year programs and services that would improve our lifestyle. Other areas, housing shortage, we've experienced over the years. We made significant progress in 2020 with over 250 new residential building permits, and we expect at least that many more in 2021. Developments such as East Point, the Flats on Memorial Drive, the coming multifamily development in Timbertop, and certainly the single-family developments in Misty Meadows and Overlook, among others. So the housing shortage is being addressed, and we're going to make great progress in 21 on that also. Jobs, we're within a few hundred jobs of being back where we were in February or March of 2020, pre-pandemic, and there are hundreds of jobs in the city in all sectors of the economy: manufacturing, construction, commercial, service, and retail. So there's no shortage of good paying jobs out there. We need to get some people in here to fill those jobs. Our businesses are crying for help, and we're working on trying to fix that problem. Community development, we have a very active community development program, especially in applying for grants from state, federal governments, not-for-profits. Probably the big kahuna of the grants is the $1.4 million grant we got for lead abatement late in 2020, which will allow us to address nearly 30 homes in Lancaster and get the lead abated. But we've gotten many other grants that benefit lots of different departments in the city, and we'll continue to do that. So fire and police obviously were the focus of the tax increase, and I want to talk a little bit about them. We've been able to replace worn out or obsolete equipment. A lot of that as a result of the CARES Act funding that came down late in 2020. And so our big focus now is getting back to full staffing. At the police department, we are currently at 59 operational officers with a target of 72. We've been able to hire 3 just recently. One's a lateral move from another department he is actually on the street, and we have 2 at the academy getting their APADA certification. We've recently given civil service tests in both police and fire. We had, in police, we had 70 some sign up to take the test, 56 showed up to take it, and 45 passed. So we hope to have another 3 or 4 of those people hired by June. In both police and fire, it's a long process to hire new officers or firefighters. There's a lot of screening, testing, evaluations that they have to go through, including a polygraph test, obviously physical fitness, psychological testing, background checks. So it's a long process to get some of those folks on board. In police, we also have 3 new cruisers in the budget for this year to get back in the rotation of replacing worn out cruisers. Obviously, they wear out pretty quickly because they get a lot of city miles that is hard on vehicles. At fire department, we're 63 operational firefighters right now with a target again of 72. We have 5 contingent offers accepted, and again, those 5 offers have not been through all the screening process that they need to go through. If 5 or whatever, however many of those 5 end up being hired, they will hopefully start by mid-March, and we have 1 offer outstanding. The civil service test for fire, we had 30 apply to take the test, 12 actually showed up to take it, and 10 passed. So we'll be working on getting more of those people on board as they get through their screening. Currently, the officers are speccing out a new medic that will be our 4th staff medic. It should be on order within a month with expected delivery sometime early in 2022. We've also started the process of selecting the location for a new West Side firehouse. You're going to see some footage of the current West Side firehouse, Firehouse 2, later in the program, so you'll see one of the reasons that needs replaced. So lots going on in police and fire. We're doing our best to get back up to strength and get our officers equipped and get quality people hired. Lastly, I want to talk about our retirement. Every year we have 3 or 4 people with 20 to 30 years of experience retire, but we have a real milestone that by the time you hear this, Bill Burrows, Superintendent of our Sanitation Department, will be retired after 43 and a half years of service to the City of Lancaster. So we just want to recognize Bill, say thank you for your many years of service and all the good things that you've accomplished at the Sanitation Department. With that, we'll move on with the program. What we're going to do, Travis is going to take you on a tour of some of the city departments and kind of give you the inside look of things that you never get to see and maybe answer some questions that you've been wondering about for many years. So with that, I'll cut it back over to Travis.
All right. Well, we've made it over to our first stop here today. We are at the Lancaster Police Department. I'm here with Chief Pilar, and we are in the 911 call center. Chief, tell us about how this operation works. Obviously, an important center for you guys.
Yeah, it is. This is a really important center for us. We run 12 contacts. We try to have this staffed with 2 per shift all the time. It's at 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 a year. We took 56,000 calls into this call center last year. And those are calls that we actually took an official action on where they had to actually log that they did something. That's not the total number of calls that actually came into this building. So these ladies are very busy. They have a wide range of skill sets. This is Comtech Marshall and Comtech Deb Hoffman. We actually use an industry standard called PowerPhone. We grade their 911 calls to make sure we get consistent service out. And they have to score above a 90% on those calls on average. So, I mean, we're very proud of the enhancements we've made in this area. Now, we are trying to get a new CAD system. The CAD system we have in here, now it has been serviced by the company, but it's from 1994. So we've been saving 911 tariff money, which is money that we can only use in this 911 comm center, for about 4 years to get the funds up to maybe replace that CAD this year or next. So it's
Okay.
going to be a big step. It'll really help them with their job and provide better service to the public.
Excellent. And how many technicians do you have working in here?
Lancaster 911,
different
where's your
shifts?
emergency?
We try to have 2, so it's 4 per shift, and they essentially work their schedules around to make sure we maintain coverage. But we want to have 2 in this room at all times.
Excellent, excellent. Well, super interesting information here. This is the brains of the operation, obviously. I think we're going to go now upstairs to take a look at the shooting range, correct?
We'll go upstairs.
All right. We've made our way to the Lancaster Police Department shooting range, and again, I'm here with Chief Pilar. Chief, tell us a little bit about, you just recently kind of brought this facility back up to speed, and tell us how you use it here with your officers.
A lot of people don't even know we have a range here. So we can shoot pistol caliber weapons here. And about 4 or 5 years ago, none of these lanes actually even worked. But when Ohio Valley, up where Harbor Freight is now, went out of business, he called us, and he had his leftover range equipment. So we had officers go up there. They gathered all that stuff up, and they actually installed it here. So it's about $30,000 to $40,000 worth of range equipment that we were able to pick up essentially free. And now our range is fully functional. All the lanes work, and we use it regularly. It's important that officers is kind of like taking that shot at the buzzer. I mean, there are times I've never fired my gun at a suspect in my 30-year career, but if you have that come up, you've only get one chance to get it right. So, I mean, we emphasize that in our training, and we have the officers up here as often as we can.
You mentioned before we were starting the film here, there's also an annual competition that you have between the officers?
Yeah, we do. Part of that training is we'll set up like combat-style shooting techniques. So it might be strong hand only, weak hand only, simulating, I got injured and I can't use my normal hand, so I would use my offhand. Those types, one-hand reloads with a semi-automatic, things that officers don't really get to do as much of, because training with firearms is expensive right now. Anybody seeing ammo prices will be shocked.
Sure. Well, just as important as training your officers with their firearm is the priority you've placed on de-escalation. You want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, we work with the ATOM board to get as many officers as we can CIT trained, that's crisis intervention team trained. And we've been focusing on de-escalation since I became chief in 2017, and I started looking at that as an issue. So in 2018, we had 112 uses of force for the year. In 2019, we had 89. This past year, we only had 64. So our officers have been really focusing hard on de-escalation. It's not, so we're right there with what the industry standard is. And it's kind of funny because people think that, cops are really aggressive people, but we're hiring young people. They have the same concerns that young people everywhere have. So it's, I just find that an interesting facet. Now, I will say this, as our uses of force have gone down, assaults on officers seem to be going up. Last year, we had 10 officers that were assaulted and 1 firefighter out of 64. So that's almost about 17% of the time we're responding to an actual assault, which that's concerning because it just raises the risk for the officer to get hurt, or a fireman get hurt, or the suspect get hurt. So,
well, I'm sure the citizens of Lancaster certainly appreciate all that you do here at the police department, and certainly what your officers are doing on a daily basis.
yeah, thank you, Travis.
Absolutely. I tell you, we're going to head over next. I think this is going to be really interesting. It's the SRT Center, so this is where they keep all the SWAT vehicles and such. So we're going to head over that way and take a look at that facility. All right, we've made our way over here to the SRT Center, or Strategic Response Teams Training Center and facility. And we're joined here today with Sergeant Ream with the Lancaster Police Department. Sergeant Ream, if you could give us a little background on what this facility is used for.
So this is our special response team, basically the area that we keep all of our gear, keep our equipment, and this is where we would do briefings prior to, say, a response on either a high-risk warrant service, a barricaded subject, or possibly a hostage rescue type thing. So yeah, this is where we meet, gather our gear up, and then we respond to wherever it is that we need to go.
Okay. And how many do you have on the special response team?
Right now we have 14 members.
And we're surrounded here by a few vehicles, all different uses, I assume. But you want to talk a little bit about your vehicles you have in the facility here?
Sure. So these were the 2 vehicles that you see. The one ahead of us here, and then the one that's right behind you. These were acquired through the military, through the government, with the DRMO program. So this vehicle that is directly in front of us is, I believe, was mainly used for several years in the early 80s by the Air Force. And then it was eventually, we obtained it. It has some armor capabilities. It has rails on the side where officers can, or operators can stand as we deploy to a scene. The one behind you is probably more familiar to most people. It's a Humvee. Once again, we acquired this from the military. It does have training armor on it, so it's able to deflect certain rounds, is mainly pistol rounds. When you get to the higher caliber rounds, then it's we have to move to another vehicle.
And I understand that you recently acquired a vehicle from Pleasant Township as well, an old medic unit, right? Is that correct?
Yes, sir. It's the one that's standing back behind us here. Was Pleasant Township. I believe that they had acquired a new ambulance. So we acquired it. Some of our operators did some work on it. We're able to get it painted, get it stenciled. So now it's basically our mobile command unit when we respond to a scene.
Excellent. Well, very interesting look at inside this facility. Certainly, on behalf of the citizens of Lancaster, Chamber of Commerce members, thank you for all that you do and your team putting yourself in a dangerous way.
Thanks, sir.
All right, and next up, we're going to head over to the Water Pollution Control Center. I'm with Mike Nixon, the superintendent of this department. Mike, you started to give us a little history lesson as we got here about water treatment here in the city of Lancaster. It goes back quite some years, right?
Yeah, this plant was actually first put in operation in 1938-39, and we've been adding to it and growing ever since. And we've had some additions in the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, and we're about to embark upon another upgrade to this facility in the near future. So right now you're in our laboratory. This is a very important part of our operation. The EPA has very stringent requirements for the water that we discharge to the Hocking River. We are certainly not allowed to discharge what comes to us. We have to clean it up and make sure that it's swimmable and fishable.
Okay. Excellent. Now, the operations here in the lab, this is ongoing every day. We're testing. I saw we have our lab technician in the background here doing work today. What are they testing for?
They are testing for basically the organic strength that's in the wastewater. We do a lot of acronyms here. They're testing for BOD, suspended solids, ammonia, nitrogen, phosphorus, just a lot of, and soon we'll be testing for the E. coli bacteria to make sure we're not putting too much of that into the river. So a lot of very technical things happen in this lab, and again, we have to send that data to OEPA to make sure that we're in compliance with our permit. If not, pretty expensive. Violating the Clean Water Act can be fines up to $25,000 per day per violation.
Well, certainly an important operation for the citizens of Lancaster. Now, you mentioned Lancaster's a little unique in the fact that they do have 2 treatment plants, correct?
We do. We have 2 treatment plants. Hopefully, we'll get up to the Upper Hocking plant later, but when we were looking at addressing combined sewer overflow issues and trying to reduce that volume, we were looking at what made sense for the community, not only to do that, but allow for future economic development growth. So that led us to the Upper Hocking plant, which took about 1 million gallons off of this plant, and during a rain event, about 6 million off this plant, flow rate wise. So with that, we addressed the combined sewer issue and hopefully allowed for some growth for the economic development.
Excellent. Well, I know we want to go take a look at some actual treatment operations, so let's head over to that facility.
Sounds great.
All right, we're still here at the water pollution plant, and we've made our way outside today on this beautiful wintry day. But again, we're with Mike Nixon. He's the superintendent, and we are actually standing just above and behind us is the Hocking River, where, Mike, as you were explaining, we discharge clean water into, right?
Yeah, this is the point that we discharge approximately anywhere from 4.5 million gallons to 12 million gallons a day into the Hocking River. So we've got to make sure it's very clean so the people downstream can use it and it's safe for fishing and swimming.
Yeah. So the whole system, the treatment system for Lancaster, the city of Lancaster, how many gallons are you processing on a daily basis?
This particular facility, we're treating about 7 million gallons a day based on the rain events, because this is a combined sewer flow plant. So when the rains happen, we get a lot more flow to this facility. Dry weather, about 4.5 million gallons a day. We see in excess of 20 million gallons a day during a rain event.
Okay. And how about the Upper Hocking plant?
The Upper Hocking is designed for 2 million gallons a day, and we're treating on a dry day about 1.2 million gallons a day, and an average wet year about 1.6 million gallons a day.
Well, very interesting. We really appreciate you taking the time to show us around the facility. Obviously, some real important processing of our city's water that you do. So thank you for you and your team.
You're welcome.
Fairfield Medical Center took care of me like I was family.
I was made to feel like I was the only person that they were going to see that day, even though I knew that wasn't the case.
Everyone at Fairfield Medical Center was very attentive. They just put my mind at ease.
I was there for 12 days, and I felt comfortable there.
We were people to them, not a number. They took the time to get to know us, our personalities.
Well, they saved my life. How do you beat that?
I don't know how I could have gotten through it without them.
Experience Fairfield Medical Center.
The Frankie Smith Funeral Home and Crematory in Lancaster and the Johnson Smith Funeral Home in Baltimore have a long and wonderful history of serving our community. Feel free to give us a call at 740-653-0652. Stop in and see us at either of our two locations, 405 North Columbus Street in Lancaster and 207 South Main Street in Baltimore. Respect for tradition, regard for change.
Buckeye Toyota, the hometown dealer who's here to help. Family owned for over 40 years and proudly helping with all of your automotive needs. We're honored to partner with countless schools, churches, and even local hospitals like Fairfield Medical Center.
We are so thankful for all the help and support from Buckeye Toyota. Whether it's assisting our cancer patients or partnering directly with our Nurse Appreciation Program, they are always there to help.
Thank you for calling Buckeye Toyota. How may I help you?
All right. Well, we've made our way now over to Lancaster Public Transit, and I'm here with Carrie Woody, who's the director of this department. And Lancaster Public Transit's really interesting. Probably one of our newer departments when you look at the rest of our departments. And I know since taking over the wheel, if you will, of the transit department, you've done a great job in growing it. You can tell us a little bit about what you guys do here?
Sure. So we have 25 buses, and we run public transportation throughout Fairfield County. So we do what's called demand response transportation, and that is where people can call us ahead of time to reserve a transportation ride. You're going to be on the bus with other people, but then we take you wherever you want to go in Fairfield County for $2. And then we also have our fixed routes that run hourly loops. We have 5 of those, one in Pickerington, 4 in Lancaster, and it's 50 cents to hop on the bus anytime you want at any of those posted stops, and you can get our schedules online.
Well, with those rates, how do you fund this organization? Because that's a pretty cheap ride.
So most of our funding comes from grants. We get what we consider as a local match, so that can come from our advertising, it comes from the city general fund, county general fund. A lot of municipalities throughout Fairfield County help contribute to our local match. And then that is all matched to state and federal grants. And so about 60% of what we operate on is all state and federal grant money.
Okay, awesome. Now you have a pretty major hub downtown Lancaster, right?
Correct. Just across from Job and Family Services on West Wheeling.
Okay. And when folks get on there, are they hitting all the different loops from that point?
Correct. You can hop on, you can get the Pickerington loop, it stops in Carroll if you're there first thing in the morning, or you can get any of the 4 loops in Lancaster from that point.
Okay, awesome. Well, you've done a great job here. Keep up the good work, and thanks for the services you're providing to the citizens of Lancaster.
Thanks, Travis.
All right, next we're going to head over to LDOT, and on this snowy day, we're going to learn a lot about what they do to take care of our roads and streets here in Lancaster. All right, well, obviously it's a snowy day here in Lancaster, Ohio, as we're filming for the State of the City. I'm here with Sean Levy at the City Salt Barn. Sean, obviously you guys are hitting it hard. We got, between 5 and 8 inches last night. Busy day for you.
Oh, definitely, yeah. We started about 8 o'clock yesterday.
8 o'clock yesterday. Any idea how much salt you've gone through over the last 24 hours?
I'm just guessing. I'm going to say we've probably gone through about 80 to 100 tons since last night.
Okay, 80 to 100 ton. How many ton will this barn hold?
About 2,400.
2,400. And you guys purchased that in the off season, and right? Is that correct?
Well, actually, we ordered some in the off season, and I have 660 coming today. So.
Okay. All right. Now you also do a liquid treatment from this facility too. Is that right?
Yeah, we've tried different agricultural products. We're using it's called GeoMelt 55. It's basically a beet juice. We add that with our brine, and we wet our salt before we put it down on the road.
Okay. We see trucks rolling out here. I understand we're going through a shift change today. Is that correct?
Well, yeah. I mean, we're going nonstop.
Absolutely. Well, you guys have done a great job today so far, keeping these streets cleared. How many trucks do you have running when you have a snow event?
8.
8 trucks running, and how many miles of road are we taking care
of? Around 400 lane miles.
Okay. All right. So. Well, hey, thanks for telling us a little bit about the salt barn, the snow removal operation here. Appreciate you guys and all the work that you're doing to keep the streets clean.
No problem. Thanks.
All right. I think we're now going to head back over to the LDOT headquarters and take a look at some of the other operations. All right, we've made our way from the salt barn into the headquarters here at LDOT. We're with Tim Dietz. Tim works here at LDOT and is in charge of the traffic pattern and flow here. We've got a really cool system that Tim's been telling us about, the Grid Smart system. And what are we calling the traffic light system here, Tim?
This is part of the Centrac system. It's it's a product of Econolite Corporation.
So you can monitor from here. Can you make changes to the patterns from here?
Yes, we can. Basically, if you look at the map, what you'll see is the entire map of the city. Every green dot or white dot lets us know the status of the intersection. This one here, for instance, is flashing red. That's the intersection of West Wheeling Street and North George Street. It's under study for removal, and we have it in flash, so the system lets me know that it is in flash. So if we have a problem out there on the street somewhere, and we see something that's out of the ordinary, we know to go check it out. Along with that, the system will actually send us an email or a text letting us know that we have a problem out there. So what we can do with this system, it just gives us the overall view of everything. The green indicators and the red indicators kind of let us know what street should have the green light. We can also zoom into certain intersections, get a little closer view. The numbers tell us the patterns they're running, whether they're running in a free mode or they're running a coordinated mode. We can zoom in even further, and then a GIS or a ortho kind of pops up, gives us a kind of a picture of everything. Then we can zoom maybe even further, and then we can actually get a by movement. We know what phases are green, what phases are red, whether the walks are up, like here, this is Main and Broad. Actually, you can see City Hall and park and everything. So we can get a lot of information from the system.
So you're telling me if I'm running really late, I could give you a ring and you could get me right down Memorial Drive pretty quick. Now let's describe a little bit, if you will, about the Grid Smart program here and what you use that for.
Well, bringing that into play, the detection is going to come from this Grid Smart system. The Grid Smart system itself is a company out of Tennessee. They started as Grid Smart, and they've sold themselves to a group named Cubic, but they still manufacture under the Grid Smart name. But basically, they are video cameras that do detection. So, say we want to go look at Broad and Fair. Right here is Broad and Fair. We can kind of monitor the intersection. A lot of activity going on here, but we're using detection zones that we can draw into these an overlay of the picture from the intersection. We'll count cars. We'll also detect cars that are looking for a green light or a red light. Let's go find one that's a little less busy. Let's say Main and Broad. Let's go look outside City Hall. So basically, we detect, this is Broad Street, this is Main Street. Main Street's our coordinated phase, so we're going to be green most of the time on Main Street. If we need to service the side street, that's what we use the detection zones for. We also use some of these zones to count traffic. That's going to be part of the function of this system as it gives data back to the Centrac system for this, what we call SPM module, which will actually allow the system to think for itself. But we also use the GridSmart system not only to count cars, monitor traffic. If somebody gives us a call and says, hey, the light isn't changing, we can come up here and pull it up, take a look at it, kind of see why. We can also, if PD calls and says, hey, you got an accident somewhere, we can come look around for it, and then we can go into the Centrac system and make some manual changes to get traffic moving around it.
Well, this has been very interesting, Tim. We appreciate the kind of walkthrough here of this system. I know how important it is to study traffic flows and traffic counts for infrastructure development, and it ties in working with the other departments throughout the city. So, we appreciate all that you're doing here at LDOT, and keep up the good work, and thanks for spending time with us today. All right, we've made our way over here to the Lancaster Sanitation Department. I'm with Superintendent Bill Burrows, and Bill, tell us a little bit about your operations.
Well, we're in charge of picking up all the trash here in the city of Lancaster. We have 15,000 residential customers a week, 1,200 commercial customers a week. We process approximately 32,000 tons of trash a year here. Our garbage trucks, we're running 3 side load trucks now, 2 rear load trucks, and 3 front load trucks. Once they fill up, they come here to our transfer station, they dump. We pack it into semi trucks. It's hauled to Pine Grove landfill outside of Oakland by Amanda. Our yard waste, we run a yard waste truck from March 1st to December 1st, and we process that here. We have a big grinder here. We mix up compost for city residents. Anybody that would like some compost, we've got about 400 tons average a year of just pure compost.
Gotcha. Okay. When guys are out collecting trash during the day, how many times are they in and out of here on a daily shift?
On a daily shift, each crew will be in here 2 to 3 times. They're running 20 and 30 yard packers, and we switched over to the toter program where everybody has their own 95 gallon toter, or senior citizens have 48 gallon toters. They come in, the side load trucks will be in at least twice a day, and the rear load trucks sometimes have to hit it 3 times a day, and the same with the commercial trucks. They come in about 3 times a day. It's pretty snowy out there today, so they're running a little behind.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, anytime I've seen your guys out in the community, they're always professional and do a great job maneuvering those trucks around in tight spaces, so they do a nice job.
Well, we train them. They're trained that no matter how silly somebody might think it is, if it's not safe, they don't do it. We don't take any chances, not that we don't have an accident now and then, but we try not to take any chances when it's snowing like right now. If it's a driveway's not plowed, or you got to go up a hill to get a dumpster or something, it'll set until we get it cleared out to where we can get to it.
Yep. Good deal. Well, we certainly appreciate all that your crews do for the community, keeping everything clean and picked up. For you, as we sit here and interview today, you don't have much time left here with this department, do you?
No, I announced my retirement for March the 1st. My last day of work will be February 22nd. I've got 43 and a half years in.
Well, congratulations on your retirement, and thanks for your service to the community. Appreciate that. All right, that wraps up our time here at the Lancaster Sanitation Department, and we're going to head over now and talk to Mike Pettit, City Economic Development Director, talk a little bit about economic development for the City of Lancaster. All right, we've made our way back to City Hall now, and we are here in the Economic Development Department with Mike Pettit, who's our Economic Development Director for the City of Lancaster. And Mike, it's been a crazy past year here in terms of just everything going on, but economic development seems to be still pretty strong. How is it in your mind?
It has been very strong. We were a little skeptical at first during COVID as well, and really we're probably down about 15% on our project leads and site visits as well. But things are happening. We've got a lot of projects in the works, And we actually had one foreign company drove here from California to look at our spec building that he didn't want to get on a plane.
Yeah, well, and if you drive by our Rock Mill Industrial Park right now, of course, Magna's out there with a brand new, beautiful building in operation. And then right across the road, we've got South Central Power and their big project.
Yeah, South Central Power is under construction. Magna is done, and it's a beautiful building. We have, they've started hiring a significantly amount of people, a couple hundred here in the first quarter. So, you know, if you're looking for a job, we have almost all of our manufacturers are hiring.
Right. Yeah, there is a big demand in jobs right now, especially in the manufacturing sector. You know, we talk about manufacturing and bringing jobs to town, but, you know, in terms of economic development, we've had quite a bit of a jump in residential as well, right?
We have a number of residential projects and a lot of multifamily, as that's the trend these days. So a lot of activity going on, a lot of activity on the books to come, too. So it's exciting time.
Good deal. Now, you were talking a little bit earlier before we started our interview here about a new project you're working on, too, with an opportunity zone. Is that right?
Yeah, we have 2 opportunity zones in the city, and they're census tracts. And an opportunity zone is a federal program where if you have capital gains as an investor, you invest in those areas, you can have those capital gains knocked down or even go away completely if you hold that investment. So we're trying, the Lancaster Port Authority is pushing through some projects. We're developing a 3-unit multifamily that we can start placing in the neighborhoods themselves and to drive the investment into the community and in these areas that maybe wouldn't see any investment in it anyway. So we're trying to help the neighborhoods. We have, along with the opportunity zone, we have a community reinvestment area overlay to where we can get tax abatement on a 3-unit or more. So we think we're putting together a really nice package to drive investment in the community and in these neighborhoods that need help. The great thing about the opportunity zone is that you don't have to be a Lancaster resident to invest here. You can invest, you can be anywhere in the country, and we'll be marketing this once we've got a final piece of legislation coming up at City Council in a few weeks to finalize some zoning overlay that we needed to do to achieve what we want to do. So we're excited about it and want to drive that investment into the neighborhoods.
Yeah, excellent. And of course, a couple other tools or partner organizations I know that we utilize here in Lancaster would be the Fairfield 33 Development Alliance as well as the Lancaster Port Authority.
Yeah, so the Fairfield 33 Development Alliance, I was one of the original folks that started that. It started for transportation, then we moved it into marketing, which we still do a marketing and attraction, but the big thing now is workforce development. And so with the Magna project, we were able to leverage about $1.2 million in state grants, and we got that at the county level to create the Workforce Development Center on Coon Path Road at 33. So that is all kicking out. We have some classes going in there now. We're excited about the future for that. Magna is using it. There's welding certification going on right now, every day this week. So good things happening there. The Lancaster Port Authority, very, very active. We've had closing on 4 different projects here in the last month and have sold either land or buildings. And our spec building, 50,000 square foot, continues to drive interest. And we're working on a firm right now that we're hopeful, we have a Port Authority board meeting today, that we're hopeful to get the final negotiation pieces put together and hopefully have a deal this week.
Good deal. Well, Mike, we appreciate the time today. As always, keep up the great work. We appreciate what you're doing in terms of economic development for our city.
All right, thank you.
Hi, I'm Carol Whittington, and I would like to invite you to stop by Personal Touch Party Rentals and Events, located at 1540 Hubbard Drive in Lancaster. We are a small family-owned business and have been servicing the Central Ohio and Hocking Hills area since 2003. Graduations with a personal touch, weddings with a personal touch, corporate events with a personal touch. Please call us today for all your party rental needs. 740-689-6991.
Fairfield Federal. When it comes to our customers and our community, we go above and beyond to help. Our people make the difference.
It's a hometown bank. It's located here in Fairfield County. Branches are convenient. They're located here in Pickerington, where my office is. I'm in Lancaster a lot, and they have plenty of branches there. And I much prefer dealing with the hometown banks rather than the larger nationwide chain banks.
Personal or business banking, whatever you need, we take it seriously because we know you do. Stop by today at any of our 3 locations and see why the difference is clear. Fairfield Federal Savings and Loan specializes in banking that revolves around you.
Member FDIC Equal Housing Lender.
Okay, we've made our way over to Engine House number 2, and we're here to talk with Chief Ward and Assistant Chief Maffin to get a little update on the Lancaster Fire Department. Chief Ward, how's it been going lately? What's the update on the department?
Well, since the levy, and I want to thank the community for passing the levy, things are on the uptick. Since the recession, we've really been going down on our personnel. So with the passage of the levy, we just offered 5 people employment. And so we're getting those numbers back up. Our ultimate goal is to get to 82 to 83 firefighters here in the next 2 years, and it's going to take that much time to do that. As far as the trucks and things, we're in pretty good shape right now. You can see this nice truck behind us. That was purchased last year, and so everything's going up, looking up right now.
Good to hear. And Assistant Chief Maffin, talk a little bit about maybe some of the facilities and what the city's hoping to do with some of these.
So the average age of our stations is about 80 years old. This is, I think, the second oldest. Unfortunately, this is also our smallest station. It's not very functional anymore in terms of just space out here on the truck floor. As you can see, our trucks are kind of crammed in here. We also have some challenges with meeting standards for our PPE safety and the way we store that. So we're actively looking at a couple different locations to relocate this station and build a new one that is much more up to date as far as the NFPA standards and what we need as to move the department into the future.
Yeah, and about how many runs are you doing each year?
Approximately 10,000.
Certainly a need for another firehouse. I know as we talk about the population increasing in Lancaster, especially on the west and northwest side, I think that's what you guys are talking about, maybe having a little bit better access out that way.
Yeah, that's one of our goals in the next 2 years is trying to locate some ground that we can either build a new engine house or maybe even 2 engine houses. So that's one of the biggest things we'd like to see accomplished in the next couple of years. 21 years ago, I remember they did a study, and at that point in time, they had a couple ideas, either replace 2 engine houses, vacate 2 and then build 2, or build a 4th one. So I don't know what the city fathers will decide, but I think that's the route that we would like to go, is to secure some ground for the future.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, listen, it's been great talking to the two of you. On behalf of the Chamber of Commerce, its members, and the citizens of Lancaster, we want to thank you too for all that you and your crews do for the community and keeping everybody safe.
Oh, you're welcome, and we'd like to thank the community for giving us the positions that we have. So thank you.
Yeah, thanks. Thank you.
Chief.
All right, folks, that's going to wrap up our time here at Engine House number 2. Next, we'll be heading out to Alley Park to visit with Mike Tharp and talk a little bit about the Lancaster City Parks. All right, we have made our way out to Charles Alley Park, part of the Lancaster Park system, and I'm here with Mike Tharp and Jen Shamblin and from the Parks system, and we're going to talk a little bit about what maybe some people don't know about our city parks. Mike, there's there's a lot to be seen, a lot to be experienced in the park system, isn't there?
There is. Lancaster Parks, the city parks, 900 acres is what we take care of. 32 properties, 27 of those properties which are named parks. 8.2 miles of a bike trail. We've got more than 11 miles of hiking trail between Alley Park and Keller Kern, and 17 full-time employees that actually facilitate all of that work. So what an undertaking.
And that's just the Lancaster City Park System.
That's just Lancaster City Parks.
That's a huge park system. And I'm sure there's so much that goes into that. I know just driving out here on a very snowy day to come visit Alley Park and the lodge here, I was rather impressed at how well the roads were plowed and the parking lots were plowed out, and there are people sledding. I'm sure you got work early on that this morning.
That's because that's our job. It doesn't fall back on the county or the city or anybody else. That's Lancaster Parks. We take care of our own parks. We don't look to other entities to help facilitate, the plowing of the snow or the maintenance or anything else. That's all in-house. It's something that's just kind of incredible. In 2020, with all that went on in 2020, such an influx of people that relearned our parks and revisited the parks for the first time. Maybe it was an incredible influx of people into the park system in 2020.
Yeah, absolutely. People trying to get outdoors and just find things to do and be safe, and these parks probably provide a great opportunity for that.
It does. People realizing how many hiking trails we have and just all of the activities, the amenities that we do have. And that, on the piggyback of that, there's been a lot of conversations about what more we could do as we head into the future. So a good topic.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, I know we're going to talk to Jen about some of the programs that the park runs too, but Lancaster City Parks is really involved in a lot of things. I mean, we've got the bandstand in the summer. Those are always exciting, and people enjoy those. And what's the outlook on that this year?
So bandstand, we are going to try and put bandstand together in 2021. We've already booked some of the bands. Some of the projects we've kicked off early this year, 100 trees in Rising Park, a project we thought would take 11 months. I thought would take 11 months. In less than 30 days, we sold more than 125 trees. That's an incredible project that we put together and had no idea how popular it would be. And that's a Rising Park project. We've got projects all over the park system that just continue to move and excite people, and that's our job. That's what we do.
Yeah, well, that's great to hear. That's great to hear. Let's talk to Jen a little bit. Jen, you were going to talk a little bit about the programming. There's so many other programs that the park system offers as well.
Right, yeah. So right now we have 2 pools still in the Lancaster City, and Tiki and Miller. So we're really excited. We have, around 30,000 people that come in the summer, so we are planning on opening those pools this year. We have our programming for our youth. We have soccer and flag football, tackle football, cheerleading. So with our soccer program, we have over 1,400 kids a year come through the soccer program. We have like 350 kids come through our tackle football, flag football, and cheer. And then our adult programming, which is really important and has really taken off the past couple years. So we have flag football, cornhole that we do right here in the months of usually February, March. And we have softball and kickball. So we have hundreds of adults that play through our programming as well. And then we have preschoolers in the park that Trina does, and a lot of camps and tennis camp and all of our camps that she does out here. So we have a lot going on.
Yeah. So as the snow melts, these programs will pick up as the weather turns.
They absolutely will. And and you can always go on our website and look, because we have our online registration, which was a huge undertaking that we did in 2020, and it's now launched. So you can go online, register for any of our programs. Yeah.
Well, I really appreciate you guys spending some time with us today. Keep up the great work. Thanks for providing such a wonderful space for our community to visit, and we look forward to working with you in the future.
Thank you.
Well, we're going to wrap up the 2021 State of the City address right here from Alley Park in the Lodge. We appreciate everyone joining us today. Thanks to all those department supervisors and department heads that showed us around their facilities today. I hope you all got a chance to learn a lot more about the City of Lancaster and how it operates. Thank you to Mayor David Scheffler for his partnership in this event each and every year. And of course, thank you to our many, many sponsors of this event. We appreciate the support for this event and all of our events throughout the year. Thanks again for watching, and have a great day.